am W.J.R.G. We are Connecticut's #1 gospel internet radio station on a beautiful Thursday evening, and this is Action First Broadcast. We come your way every Thursday at 6 p.m. along with Dr. Wayne McCray. I'm Dr. Jerry Green. What's up, Dr. Wayne? How you doing?
All right, Dr. Jerry, how's it going?
I am blessed, my brother. And every Thursday we bring in a special guest, someone who's a blessing to our community, and we have a legend, an icon in the studio tonight. We have Alderman Tony Dawson. How you doing, my brother? God bless you.
Good. God bless you too, Jerry and Dr. Wayne. How are you both?
We are blessed, man. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm hanging in there. Just trying to do what I can to help the community, sir.
And you're doing a great job, we want to say, man. I'll give you flowers right now. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started, because we know we can get started and we have a lot to talk about. Now, being born and raised in New Haven, what makes our city so great, man? You're a big part of our city, being born and raised too, man. So you must have a love for New Haven. What makes our city, the city, so great?
Well, it's a diverse city. You know, I came up in the Hill all my life, and I can remember back in the day when, you know, we came up with the Black Panthers, we came up with, you know, people like the Flaming Knights and different organizations, and just watching that as I grew up instilled in me that you have to always watch out for your community, and that's what I do.
Okay, and doing a great job. Now, what age were you when you wanted and decided that you wanted to get involved in our community service, and who inspired you, man, coming up?
Well, there was quite a few people. I know, there were people in our community from all walks of life. I can't just say African American folks as well. I had the opportunity of working with Yale students from the Dwight Hall, which they inspired me. I had people in Flaming Lights like Leroy Bolden and all the people like Gail Coleman and different folks that were in the Hill at the time in the 60s, just trying to demonstrate what was the need of the African American community. And then, of course, around 13 or 14, I started doing some organizing because I felt at a young age that the more people you reach to talk to them about the kinds of complex problems or the problems that you need to work on in the community, we had to do it for ourselves because nobody else would do it for us.
Okay, let me just make mention too. We have a phone number, 475-227-2170. If anyone wants to give us a call, have any comments or questions for the alderman, former alderman, but Tony Dawson. So give us a call, today on the phone with Action First Broadcast. Now, when did you want to get into politics and become an alderman and being on the board?
Well, first I ran in Dixville area, and then it was against a person that was very well known and respected, Chuck Allen.
Right.
I almost won. I was like 10 votes apart between the two of us. So Chuck said, if you're that good, you need to go back into the neighborhood that you were born and raised in and run. So then I ran again in the Hill for the first time, and I won. And ever since then, I just had the desire to be a part of making decisions for our community and not let other people make decisions for us.
Now, being an alderman, what exactly does an alderman or alderwoman does?
Well, what they do is they basically represent the body of people that they represent, that vote for them, and the neighborhood that they represent. And we just make sure that the laws that are on the books pertaining to making things a lot safer. Jobs, we get the right kinds of jobs, that we get apartments that are needed for the families, which right now we're having a very serious problem in New Haven with finding apartments or low-income apartments for families. So we're trying to, these are the things that the aldermen need to be working on. And also when they pass developments, we should not be giving developments to all these people for like $2,000 apartments for 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms. We need to work on making those folks.
Wants to pass a bill. You guys got to vote on that, right?
Yeah, they have to vote on it.
It's like Congress.
It's the same way. It's just a check and balance. The automatic side of the government keeps the legislative side of the government keeps the mayor's side of the government in check. And they have to work hand in hand. If the mayor makes a recommendation, the board of government has to vote on it if it's allocating city tax money.
Okay. Wow. See, I learned something about that. Now, I see you also attended Morehouse College how important is education? Well, first of all, what high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Lee High School, which
Oh, Lee High School.
recently was conducted into the Lee High School Career Hall of Fame.
Yes,
It's one of the
congratulations.
prominent people who did things for the community since graduating from high school, and I'm proud of that. I enjoyed that because when I was at Lee, I was outstanding there as well because back in those days, the late Lowell Whitaker came looking for me. He was a state senator, a Republican senator at that. He came looking for me because he had heard about me, and I was a year too old to go to become a United States page with him, which that is to go to the Senate floor of the Congress and just work with senators and do their work for them, and you get paid $1,000 a week for 16 weeks.
Wow.
So they said, well, just because you're too old, I'm not going to ignore your community. So therefore, we're going to get Donald Fleming. They got Donald Fleming, who eventually graduated from Harvard University. He went on to become the United States page that I was so important.
He was a Lehigh guy as well.
Yeah, basketball and all that.
I graduated from Lehigh.
Yeah.
So you Dr. Randy, right?
Yeah.
So Lehigh's in the house.
That's it. That's it.
That is all right, man. How important is education, man? You went to Morehouse College. How important is education in today's society?
It's so important. I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, you got to really get more than just a high school diploma to compete with some of the stuff that's going on in the world right now.
Right.
It's so sophisticated that they don't even look at you if you don't really have it. So I encourage young people to get it. And also, if you don't have it, that doesn't stop you from trying to make yourself better. They call it pulling up by your bootstraps. Just do what you got to do. But it's important. I mean, when I went to Morehouse, it was Maynard Jackson running the city. It was. I can remember sitting on the curb one day talking to Benjamin Mays, and these are things I'll never forget. And I was also there when they built the Dr. Martin Luther King Chapel, which was the largest assembly hall on the campus so that students could come in and have assemblies. And I met people like Spike Lee as well as Ed Moses, the track star, and I still sort of
down in Atlanta.
I try to stay in contact with those kind of guys, and that's the guys that were encouraging me. Whether I graduated or not, they still look out for me and make sure that I'm on the right track and doing the right thing.
Because when we had Judge Clifton Graves, he was telling us that he was at a speech and Dr. King was preaching. Remember Dr. Wayne?
Yeah.
He was a little kid, and he said that inspired him so much, to get into what he does.
Not only that, he can cite certain things.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. We got to write in the same sequence in it. And that inspired me. He said yes. And I thought I met some great people.
Yeah.
He said he was right there listening to Dr. King.
Oh yeah.
I know they had to be touching.
That's right.
Oh my God, they had to be touching, man. Now, being a family man, you're married to Laura Johnson. And my mother's name is Laura as well. With 4 daughters. How has God blessed your family over the years, man?
We're blessed. Our daughters are very successful. One's a couple of nurses. The other ones are big, doing beautician stuff. And I have one that's a journeyman in terms of doing all kinds of stuff on houses. And then I had a couple of grandsons. One's at he'll probably be going to Hamden Hall, and the other one's at University of New Haven playing football. So
that's good.
Those are the 2 that I'm keeping my eye on because they're the 16 to 21-year-old, and you got to watch those these days and try to keep them encouraged.
So you into sports?
I'm into sports with them. Yeah, I enjoy it.
You watch sports?
I watch it. I didn't play sports because I was too busy in politics, but I still enjoy it, and I enjoy watching good sports.
Okay, who's your favorite team, man? And I'm a sports guy. You got to do sports.
Well, I like.
I have a little balance. Like I'll give you all right now. The Lakers come on 10 o'clock tonight. I'll be watching the game.
What you saying?
They got the Knicks. So I will be watching the game.
I like the Knicks.
Up front.
Yeah.
I'm all set.
I like
I got my food ready. I got my food ready for tonight.
Yeah. Just watching.
I like LeBron and Luka.
I don't have any special teams. I just enjoy watching. But I like the Knicks. I like the Philadelphia.
Okay, now what you got in front of me, the Reverend Curtis Cofield stage. Let's talk about that, the groundbreaking ceremony.
Yeah, we just did a groundbreaking ceremony in March of 2024. It's a 56-unit housing. Like I said, it's important that we do affordable houses. The Dr. Curtis Cofield from Emmanuel Baptist had started this over 20 years ago.
Okay.
He was on the back of Dr. Leon Sullivan out of Philadelphia, who also did a lot of entrepreneur stuff in South Africa as well as in the United States. And Dr. Leon Sullivan, just to be brief, also said that we not only have to depend on other people, but we need to worry about putting things together ourselves, taking our little monies, $4, $5, $1,000, putting them together and investing. So Dr. Cofield and some members of his church put an investment called SHIP, West River SHIP program, and we are now in completion of 56 houses, which Mayor Tony Hawk and also Mayor Elliger supported us. Tony Hawk was the original person that gave us the land, and we found $31 million to develop the project, and it is 80% completed. It's on Legion Avenue by Martin Luther King Drive and Legion Avenue and the Boulevard, El Grasso. And so we are encouraged by that because not only do we have housing there, but we have a bakery there that we're going to be setting up very shortly, where people could come in and buy bakery goods and coffee goods, and some of the residents could work there when they're not working. And it's a good development. And I'm proud to be president of it. And it's about 30 of us that's the investors. We invested our own money to get it going, and then we use state money to build the houses and etc. So we're very proud of that project.
You know, if I could just jump in there, man, I know, man, Tone, and my hat's off to you, man.
Thank
You
you
know,
so much.
for many years, you know, a lot of work that I do, man, is because of y'all shoulders and guidance, right? And creating that path, right? Giving a brother like me an opportunity, you know. But you know, I want to commend you for that because you know what I see with that site, more of a community village, and we need to bring the village back, man.
Correct.
You know, there's, you know, and that's a good thing. You putting in something meaningful, you know, to feed the families, and you know, something that can bring the community in a village environment. You know, where I grew up on Down Street, you know, from Congress Avenue, man. I remember back in the day, you know, they had the Panthers movement, and man, that's when they started the school luncheon and the school. And Miss Colleen, she used to live right upstairs from us, and you know, used to teach us all the songs and everything. Power to the people, you know. You know, but you know, and on that street, one of the things I was talking, one of my brothers, he's been coming to our ministry, and we grew up together, and it's good to see brothers that you grew up with and now, you know, seeking the Lord and in the things of God. You know, very important, you know, and I see God, you know, so it's really, you know, a powerful thing, and we need to get back to that. So I see these developments, you know, that's really needed, you know, and setting up more opportunities, because like, you know, I sat with you, you and Sam Foster for many years, man, as a co-chair. That's right. For Hill North Development. You know, it was a great experience, you know, and watching you guys, you know, they built the John Daniel School there and everything, man. And so that took a lot of work and effort, you know, for that community. Because we know how the Congo used to be.
Yeah, I go back as far as
come on, man. Come on.
Building the career high school, they said, well, we want to name the school or name the pool after you. I said, no, that's not necessary. I just wanted to have a pool in the Hill so that it could be competitive and swimming just like every other city and every other neighborhood they have. Cross had a pool. Lehigh didn't have, well, they had a pool, but then they took it out and got rid of the school. But let me get back to that project on Curtis Cofield. The reason I'm so elated about this project is that the residents will not be paying any utility bills.
Wow.
There's no utilities. There's no gas. There's no oil in the building. It's run all by electric, and we pay that as owners.
Wow.
So they have no utility bills at all. They
Wow.
just pay rent and keep the place immaculate. And then we have services for them that we don't want them to be tenants all their lives. We got services where they could come, where people come in, teach them how to become homeowners.
Oh, that's great.
We got after school programs for children. We have all the bells and gamuts that you need to make a successful, I don't even call it project, a development, a homestead, to make it really work, you know. So I'm looking forward. Well,
I like to say the term a thriving village.
A thriving village. That's
a
right.
Thriving village.
That's right. So we got all kinds of other projects, all my one family units, all our one family units. We're going to be giving them to the homeless shelter. We give them to Columbus House. So they'll be in the building 24 hours. The tenants don't be making the other tenants feel uncomfortable. If they don't do right by having their one-bedroom apartments, then they don't stay there.
Wow.
You have to go because
Wow.
we cannot interfere with the other families that are doing good. But Columbus House has agreed to run that particular program for us. So we got some real nice new stuff
Wow.
that's going to be going on in this development.
That's all right.
All right, this is Action First broadcast on W.J.R.G. Television Network. And also we are live on the radio, W.J.R.G. Gospel Inspirations. We have Dr. Wayne McCray in the studio, along with former Alderman Tony Dawson, a legend in New Haven, an icon in the community, doing a great job. And we're so proud of what you're doing. Now, you're also a member of St. Matthew's Church in Dixville with Pastor Kevin Hardy.
Yes.
How has God blessed you spiritually?
The church that cares. That's what we call it. I really enjoy it. I've been there close to 18 years now.
Okay.
And under Pastor
Gay too, right?
Pastor Gay as well as Pastor Hardy. And I really take my hat off to Pastor Hardy for starting the man cave that we have at St. Matthew's. And it just makes us men work more closer together around issues that affect our families, our own manhoods, and just knowing how to treat one another. There's very few of us that come in that building on Sunday morning without looking at each other in the eye and shaking hands if we're in proximity of each other. So I really take my hat off to him about the man cave and all the issues. I mean, I just recently lost 33 pounds. It's because he has a wellness program where a brother comes out of Huntsville, Alabama, who's a wellness doctor. He looks like he's 15 years old. He's 56 years old.
Wow.
And so he has those kinds of programs going on in the church, and I'm really grateful to him for his leadership.
Praise the Lord.
Good.
And once again, the phone number is 475-227-2170. Now, let's talk about your strong commitment to community development in the Hill section. How did this all come about?
Well, it came about after being an alderman for 17 years. There was no committee just about that I didn't have an opportunity to serve on. And while I was on those committees, I was like a sponge. I learned how to do it because and many times in our community, we don't learn how to develop and build and collect monies and use other people's money to develop our communities. So I was passionate after working with some of the Yale students, because a lot of times Yale students need extra credit,
Right.
Because they were short credits to graduate, and so they would come into the Hill where I was at and say, I started and when I was young, before I got out of high school, there was a place called People Active for Change. And we were doing block by block organizing the same time that former President Barack Obama was doing it in Chicago. So the same tactics and the way that we were doing organizing, he was doing it in Chicago, and I was a young boy in New Haven doing it in New Haven. And sometime I hope to have a little discussion with him about it. But lo and behold, that moved me directly into doing more organized. I then started working with the police department, doing block by block crime prevention, which we talked about earlier. And then from there, I began to work with the police department to counsel young victims of crimes and young people who just needed some advice about how to stay out of crime. And then from there, I started the Victim Services Program, and I was one of the first victim witness advocates in the New Haven Police Department. So people know that I've been around the police department all my life, and it's just because after seeing the Panthers, I was for the Panthers, but I also knew that we needed good people in the police departments also to make sure that we don't have the kinds of beatings and killings and things that are going on, because that just takes us to get in there and do that, us to be the monitors and make sure that we put good officers, men and women, whether they be Black, white, or Latinos, put them in the police departments to take care of our community. So then I just started a career in that, which led me to almost 42 years as an officer at Yale New Haven Hospital.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think the police department can get a bad rap, though?
Well, they get a bad rap because there are some bad cops. That's no doubt about it. And therefore, sometimes you have to have something in place to correct those officers that are not the right kind of officers. And I made a choice a long time ago when I took this course with the FBI to learn how to teach officers how to be good officers. And FBI had offered this while I was a lieutenant, and I took it. And that's important because it's just like my favorite persons. I mean, when I was chairman of the Board of Police Commission, I fired officers that did bad.
Wow.
I hired officers that did good. But I also was proud to be the chairman of the Board of Police Commission because for the first time in New Haven, I had a black chief at Yale University and a black chief at New Haven. And I can remember one day when Tom Joyner was the MC for the Freddie Fixie Parade, and I told him that we had just got Chief Austin at the fire department. He said, "This is sure enough a chocolate city." And I said, "It's and Mayor Hump was there, so I was just glad to be in the number, if you will." And he said, but it was just a wonder to see black chief, black fire chief, both chiefs in both the university and New Haven Police, and that's one of my proudest moments.
Now, I mean, I said that for a reason, because I was born in Philly. My whole life I was in New Haven.
Yes.
That's all I know is New Haven.
Yes.
I have to say, and I give God the glory, and I give my mother and father their due. I never been arrested in my life. I never had any problem with the police at all.
Right.
Even when I was young, if I did a couple of things, the police officer most of the time knew me from the B&L and said, "Mr. Brother, we go home," whatever. So I never really got in trouble.
Right.
But I watched a lot of movies. You ever seen this movie called Black and Blue about the police department? You saw that movie?
Yes.
And then like Training Day and all that.
Right.
Does that really happen in the police department, or that's just fictional movies? Because that Black and Blue, you ever seen that movie, Dr. Wayne, called Black and Blue?
It's just like anything else. Anything is possible. I mean, when you're dealing with the human element, that's what my boss is telling me. You're dealing with the human element. Don't be surprised.
I told my wife, I said, man, I said, if it's that bad, she said, yes, a lot of crooked cops. I understand that, but I'm saying, I mean, when they make these movies, they're really making the police officers look real bad.
Yeah, well, now you got a good check and balance. And then what Emma Jones is working on with the civilian review boards, and I helped her out a lot with that. You got different mechanisms now that you can really detect that happening, and as well as you can work on. I think that we have one of the finer departments. And it's come a long ways. I mean, when I first got involved, I used to watch officers beat my father up for no real reason, just because he said something that they didn't like. And I remember Captain Odell Carnes then, Charlie Brady and Paul Gomes and those guys just convincing me, man, that's not how we do it, Tom.
Okay.
Whatever they did to your father last weekend, I want you to cool down and move forward. And that's what I did.
And another thing I would say, for New Haven Police, they do more social work than anything, man. They put out, it's a lot of work that they do, because I went through the Citizen Police Academy training.
That's right.
I'm also a chaplain with the New Haven Police. So, I've come to see them in a different light, and how they handle things. And they do more social work. They don't get a lot of credit for a lot of things that they do. You know what I mean? They do more social work than they do policing.
Well, like I said, the last few years, we've had some good commissioners there that have been keeping their eyes on what's going on, the pulse of what's going on. And I think that we've been hiring the best that we could possibly hire. And therefore, those individuals have our interests at heart when they go into the police department.
Okay, like I said, this is Action First Broadcast, and we're going to switch gears a little bit on the subject. I understand you had some health issues along with myself, and you had about what cancer? You said prostate and stomach cancer.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone that's either dealing with cancer, or your recommendations to get screened early so to prevent from the cancer?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to get screened. I had stomach cancer, which was the size of a grapefruit outside of my stomach, and I ended up taking pills for radiation, but God be the glory, I'm not suffering with stomach cancer. And then recently I did a biopsy with a prostate, and I saw a little mark last year with my doctor, and he called me a couple of days ago and told me God is good. He didn't see the mark anymore. So
Hallelujah.
I'm so happy. When Wayne called me to talk about, coming here, I would say, yes, I'm glad to come, because I want to encourage brothers to stay strong. I do this with my church. I just lost 33 pounds. We got to get our weight under control. We got to get our health under control. And the prostate is nothing to play with. And colon cancer is nothing to play with. It's taking us out of here. And, I'm just so happy, just like Jerry is. I know he's going through a bout. But you gotta work on it, and you got to be able to be with the doctor so that they can diagnose us to the best of their ability through God. I ask my doctors all the time, do you believe in God? Well, tonight before you do my operation in the morning, pray to God that you'll be all right and he worked through you.
That's right. And Luke was a physician. Shoot, the medical field, it going hand in hand with the word as well. And those, there's a couple doctors that we're in that are spirit filled, And we know, and one thing God gave me a revelation about healthy. Healthy abbreviated is heal thy.
That's right.
HEAL:'THY.
That's right.
And we work on our minds that they may be healed.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it says Luke. I forgot about Luke.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he was a physician. He was a physician. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
You know, but one other thing too, man. You know, I want to commend you on receiving your presidential, your lifetime achievement, man.
Oh man, that was so amazing.
We got the picture there. Yeah, we got it flashing up there. Yeah, on the
Is that
screen.
same one like something like that up there?
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
it. That's the same thing. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
I just came to church that morning and I was wondering why my daughter and my grandson and her fiance and then some other people that I know that normally don't come to St. Matthew's. And then my cousin Sean and some other community folks came up and gave me the President Achievement Lifetime Achievement Award from President Biden, saying that I did over 10,000 volunteer hours in the community.
Wow.
And I was just impressed with that. It just took me back. The other thing that I was so proud about,
W.J.R.G.
it also took Gary. Hey,
All right, bro, hold up.
the folks that was involved as well was Pastor Martha Green, Dr. Ian Robinson, Mrs. Turner.
They good up there too.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Turner, who just got recognized at Hill House as being the oldest Hill House graduate, 104 years old, and
Yes.
and then the other person that got it also was Bishop Shields, and I was proud to be in that group with West Haven Black Coalition, Mrs. Brown. So those are the individuals that got it with me. That was the ones that went up to the president, asked him to give us all out of New Haven those awards. We have one more, but we have not given it to her. So we'll stay tuned. She is a gospel singer too. So
Okay. Well, we have Bob McCormick on the phone. He wanted to call in. I know said you and Bob are good friends. I guess he have a question or a comment. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Gary and Tony and crew.
hey,
How's everybody doing?
All
how
right.
you doing, Bob?
Hey, how you doing, Tony? I just had a comment about Tony, and I've known him for a number of years. He's done well by all. He ran, as you know, for Alder. He was at Alder for quite a bit, and then ran for mayor, and then became a police commissioner. And I know you guys have probably talked about it, but and now he's involved in a housing project, and he's done the Black community very well. And I just wanted to say that about you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for all your help that you helped me. When I ran for mayor, you were my press secretary. You took care of all my press, and still now you keep me up to date on what's going on in the city when incidents happen.
That's right. Bob McCormick, a legendary reporter. Yes,
Yeah,
he's
works
on
on
W.J.R.G. He's on the station now. He does the news on the station. So your greatest accomplishment that you're the most proud of? I know you have so many. I mean, receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards and so many other awards, but if there's one singular thing that you're the most proud of?
It's just the idea that, when I first brought the Dollar House on Ann Street for at age 16, it rang through the halls of Congress, because being at age 16 buying a house, that's for an example that neighborhoods need to be revamped and rehabbed. And then I rehabbed the entire block with all the residents that already had lived there. I just went over there and brought me a house, moved my family in there, and I still have it some 35 years later, and brought a second house on that particular street. And we just try to keep things where, controlling it where we have control of it. It's getting away from us now because, we got these people coming in our community.
That's right.
Buying up houses. But I just say, if you live on a particular block, you control your block by owning your own property. And you can know who can go in, who can't go in. And therefore, that's how you make your neighborhood safe. You demand how you want people to work and walk in your neighborhoods and do the right thing. And so that was the main thing, just being able to go around and organize with fellow people and put programs together that help all of us together. We all brought refrigerators and stoves.
That's right.
We whatever we needed. one person will help and the widow's children in my neighborhoods too. I know the Bible says to do that, and I know some widows out there in New Haven will tell you that I definitely check on them, make sure everything was okay and their families are okay, and their husbands were my friend, and so that's my responsibility. And therefore, if something happened to me, I want them to do the same thing for my family.
Praise the Lord. Now, another question: what is maybe some of the challenges would you say some of our small Black businesses are facing today, especially with this technology coming? What is some of the challenges that we're facing as a business?
I watched Dr. Barber this past week. That I watched his speech instead of President Trump's speech.
Okay.
And they stayed on from 7 to 11, to 1 o'clock in the morning. And what the challenge is that we don't support Black businesses, and that's this here move that's going on now in Washington. We're gonna have to learn how to support one another. I mean, when did you ever imagine that eggs would be $11 and $12 and $13 a dozen?
Come on, man.
What?
This stuff is going on, so therefore we got to put trust in people that's going to look out for our interests and try to find farmers that will sell it to us a little cheaper and get more of these goods into our community. So that only way we can do that is like they're saying on Dr. Barber, you got to work with the Black community and Black businesses to do that.
But I mean, this has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
You said that we don't support each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in your opinion, why is that?
Well, it's communication. It's the way that we were brought here. We were brought here to be separate, and there was no reason. And then people still don't want us to be together. That's what the whole thing about DEI now. They want to break it down. The whole civil rights movement has been challenged for the last 60 years. They finally got us under this administration, getting rid of DEI, getting rid of all the agencies that normally help us, get good health, like, Medicare, Medicaid. This has been a challenge all the time. We've been used to it. So that's why we should get ready to buckle down, take these 4 years, because we've been through worse times.
Right. I mean, because like I said, I look at in the hill section, I look at all the Mexicans and the Spanish, they done took over everything.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? The barbershops, you name it.
Our brown brothers too.
Right. And we had opportunities.
No doubt.
And I mean, we're still consumers, and I'm still waiting for us, to start doing, because really, YBC doesn't belong to us. It really still belongs to Yale.
Yes.
What do we really have in this city that we can say is ours? You know what I'm
Besides
saying?
what you're doing here.
Right, I'm saying,
it's not a whole lot. And
I don't get the support.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that's what our people is.
Well, that's why, again, I think that it's so important that not only the man cave stuff that goes on at my church, we have to begin to talk like that in all churches and do it 1 or 2 or 3 times a year, have these kinds of conferences, because we just have to educate the public. I mean, some people just don't know no better. I mean, they want to do better, but we got to just begin to take the time to communicate with them and show them. And I think that we can make a difference. But some of us going to have to take leadership and just show people why it's important to support Black businesses.
How do you feel about President Donald Trump?
Well, I think he needs a little bit more diplomacy. I just don't like him. I did not like the way he did the 5-star General Brown. I thought that this man put his reputation on the line by just becoming the 5-star general. I didn't like any part of firing people in the federal government, because I look at it just like me. I wouldn't want to go to Yale one day and they say you just fired, and I got a list of accomplishments like I do there. The last 42 years, and then they just tell me I don't have a job anymore. I can imagine. I mean, I'm ready to get my walking shoes on and start with my cane and walk out and start doing demonstrations. I think it's going to be a good summer to do a lot of demonstrating. People know that we don't like it, and therefore we don't have to take this, but we're going to let you know that we're going to work towards making it a better place, despite of what you do.
And even as you said that, Tone, I want to call you Dr. Tone. It's something just for the pandemic hit, and I organized a rally on the Green, and we had a bad storm, so I didn't get the turnout that we want. But I know with the Black Wall Street, some of the organizers that organized that, and with Scott, I know you have a good relationship with Scott. We need to band together. Now, it's a peace rally, and it's a symbol of the people.
Right.
assembling a peace symbol with people,
Correct.
because peace starts within.
No doubt.
And I see that nationally, man. And we need to, especially now with what's all taking place. And we're in the cups of a World War III, right in the middle of it, about to happen. And so, you know, so it's something that I believe that taking position, we want peace, and we're going to continue to walk in peace.
We will. And I think what I heard this past week with Roland Martin and with Dr. Barber is that we're going to be going to churches all around this country, and we're going to be, you know, saying the same message. That's another thing that we can really do. If we're saying similar messages throughout the churches across the country, everybody gets it. You know, but if you got one saying one thing, one saying another, it sort of puts us on a different.
Well, see, you know, and that's where we got to connect with your event too, because I do Men on the Same Page.
That's fine.
And the focus is leadership, spiritual growth, family, entrepreneurship, health and wellness.
Right. So now that's what I'm saying. With us doing the man cave, you're doing that.
Yeah.
You don't have the same agenda. You have the same points that you want to make, but we could do that separately in the separate parts of the year, and everybody gets this fruit for knowledge through that process.
Yes, sir.
And that's great what you guys do, because a lot of meetings I go to, I sit there. Like I said, man, well, I got to see something else, man. Some of this stuff. I don't mind sitting in meetings and we can hear the same thing. You know.
But you know, one of the downfalls I see that we have trouble in those lines, because the men's responsibility, we're the home, the providers at home, and a lot of our brothers are, you know, at work. And so it's really hard for us to really organize in those sense. And that's why we need now, because things are evolving and innovation is taking over. We have to have more time management, because there are means, coding, different things. There's other means for the gain finances. And we could gain our time back there. We could be more effective collectively together. And these, you know, these philanthropists, we need to get them to throw something in the bucket.
And they will. They're like Jesus. Jesus said, "You don't ask me, I can't provide." So therefore, we got to be able to see those individuals, and we got to ask them to help us out and organize in the sense that, you know, we know exactly what we want and what we need, and we go to them and ask them and put it together. But the thing about it is that I think Black men really got to spend more time about their mental, their physical, their health. We really got to take time off for ourselves. I know it's okay to work, and you know, I know people got to work 2 jobs to provide for their families, but it's nice, you know, still water runs deep.
That's right.
And so we got to sit down and really think our things through too, and then listen to our children. Our young men are more bright and smarter than we ever be. And sometimes we can't be mad because they know a little bit more than us. But let's work with them, and they'll help us develop.
And you know what? And that's one thing. You know what we started a career path, right? And at the end of this journey, man, we want to raise up pilots out of New Haven, man. And there's brothers that can do it, you know, and you know.
I'll tell you one of them right now off the top of my head is Norm Foster. Financial advisor.
Okay.
Berlin.
Yep. And we're connected with him. We actually, me, him, and Al.
He's my financial advisor. That's why I brought it up, because I know
he can
teach young Black men how to do plans.
And
I told my grandson. I even put him in contact with him.
We took a group. We took a group down to Newburgh, New York. We became a chapter for the Tuskegee area. Al Lucas and Norm. Yep.
I understand. So that's we got some things that we're working on. Just like Commissioner Higgins from the state police, him and Charles Grady Jr. They found out that there were some Black children and women and men that wanted to be FBI agents, and now they have a program at Yale University where you can go in and you get a police officer assigned to each child to along their way in their career, so that by the time they get out of high school, they can go to college and have them recognized as FBI agents. Working towards FBI agents.
That's good.
All right, this is Action First broadcast. We're speaking live with Alderman Tony Dawson. He's our special guest tonight, along with Dr. Wayne McCray. Alderman Tony, how important is faith, man?
Faith is very important.
Let's talk about it for a second.
That's what keeps me going. I mean, with the elements that I was going through, even my family life, even my siblings, even my my children. I pray all the time. I try to keep them encouraged. I try to show them, how important God is. My grandchildren. I mean, it's everything to me. I mean, that's what kept us thus far, and that's what's going to move us forward.
Praise God. Now, what advice would you give someone that either wants to get into politics or just a part of the community? What advice would you give them? Because you're a community guy from a young age, all about the community. A lot of young people, they have the energy and they're looking for direction, guidance, and a lot of people look up to you too now.
Yes, sir.
So what advice would you give someone?
Well, I just look at like your picture right here with Rosa DeLore. Look how long she's been there. You think she want to stay all her life there? No. So we got to begin to groom people, to send people to watch her and look at her and pay attention to it, and start with your board of aldermen, start with your board of education, start with your PTA. But like my pastor said, you can't go to them PTA meetings, and then you can't go to them meetings about your children in school with your bottom of your pajama bottoms on. You got to come in there with some with looking professional.
That's right.
Acting as though you know what you're doing, and talk to people about how they treat your children. We got to start grooming people, but we got to do it in a professional way, in a way that that they can be successful at. It's not good to be coming out here like that in the street and then going to do some professional stuff. Dress up. That's the whole purpose of having a tie, shirt, and a pair of pants on. Pick your pants up off your butt and put it on your waist. Put your belt tight, and let's do about the business of getting our stuff down. My father said either pull them up or pull them off. I mean, these things are okay in certain settings, but when you're going to get a job, to look for something that's important.
First impression.
First impression is what counts.
Okay, now being a public figure, being a public figure, just like myself, and you also, Dr. Wayne, how important is that for us to be role models to people, man?
It's essential. I mean, from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're being watched. Somebody's watching you. And therefore, you have to be on your best accord at all times. I was always told that. I mean, and then, you got to get involved. I'm a member of the Elks. Been there for almost 40 years. We're getting ready to anticipate building a new building on Dixville Avenue after the one that was torn down for the new project. And then I'm a member of the Masons and the Order of Eastern Stars. The Masons, I have my 33rd degree, which is a very prestigious 33rd degree. I mean, I go all around the world, and there's other 33rds that that do the right thing, and they do projects like I'm doing. That's the reason that you get it, because men of your caliber has recognized that you have done some good things in the community. So those are the things you got to do. Just look at these things that they're almost dying on the vine because we're not getting involved. We're not getting involved with our fraternity organizations. We're not doing anything anymore like we used to, because when I had to run for alderman some 30, 35 years ago, you had to be an Elk or a Mason because they didn't want you.
Wow.
You either knew it or you didn't. I mean, you either was or you wasn't. And now you just walk in because you just want to do the job. So now, how are you being held accountable, and who are you being held accountable by? So that's what's important.
That's very important. No, I'm laughing because being in the public, especially Dr. Wayne, going to the hospital.
Yes.
Because I remember being on the radio too.
Yes.
I remember I was drawing blood, right? And the lady asked, "What was your name?" This is the nurse I'm with.
Yeah.
And the other nurse came in there, "You J.R.G. from radio?" I said, "Yes, it's me." Just about my voice.
Watch you all the time.
Right. And then another time I had to go for an MRI. I had to put down the whole, so I'm walking. So the lady said, I was in the front. Now the sky blue black lady said, we're walking with a celebrity. And I'm like, who's he talking about? That's Dr. Jerry Green in the front. And I'm like, oh, I can't even go get an MRI. It was like 8 of us going back in. I'm like, oh man, but it's always a good thing.
My wife says the same thing about me.
Your life speaks.
Yeah, I was sitting down somewhere the other day, and the guy came to cover my eyes. And when he talked, I said, "That's radio." He said, "Yeah, boss, how you doing?" I said, "I can't go there. I've been on cruises, and people come up and say, 'Hey, I didn't know your birthday was the same as mine.'"
Wow.
So you're on stage. It's like Disney always said. That's why I like Disney.
Right.
He said, whenever you perform, you got to realize one thing: you're up on front on stage or you're backstage. Most times you're either on stage or you're backstage. So I try to operate my life that I'm on stage in front.
And the beauty of it, God said, let our light shine before
That's right.
men.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
And they see our good works.
That's right.
And that's how God get glory.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you.
Yes.
You keep up the good work. Keep letting your light
I
shine.
appreciate you.
All right.
too.
Let your light shine. So
Yes,
people see your good works. You'll be surprised how many people watch you. Like when we were talking about like the late Willie Wright and all
Yeah. Oh,
that,
yeah.
that we looked up to. Well,
Al
we saw
Nelson,
Al
my father.
my father and all that.
Mhm.
People doing the same thing to us.
Yes, sir.
And you too, Dr. Wayne.
Mhm.
You know, so that's one thing we can't take lightly. And I was to keep up the great work.
I thank you both for
Right.
just inviting me, and I think that you guys are so important to me too. I watch you and I listen to you on the radio all the time, and I think you're doing a magnificent job. I mean, there's not a lot of people doing this,
Right.
so I give my flowers to you as well.
All right.
Man, we appreciate you. We're definitely gonna have you back, man. I knew it was gonna be epic, man. I knew it was gonna be epic. But definitely, you know, when you have the ceremony and some other things going on over there, we'll come on location.
Okay.
That's
Over
right.
there.
Come on
Yeah,
location,
yeah,
man.
come on location, man, and do something this
And keep
summer.
in mind, we have a 24-hour gospel. I say gospel
Right.
television station.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
so the access is there
Okay.
along with the radio. So whatever
I'm
you're
gonna try to
doing,
get you support
okay,
too.
whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
just let us know.
It's
So I'm going to
important.
close this out, brother.
Well, listen, man, at this time, only thing I could say, I want to thank you for taking action first with us here at W.J.R.G. TV, Internet, Radio, and TV, and Action First Broadcast and TV. And we're definitely going to have you back real soon, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so
And
much.
keep doing what you do, you know, and stop down at them legislative sessions with the alders every now and then. Let them see the general in the building.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will
sir,
do that.
yes, sir.
Well,
So-
I'm retiring. As of June the 7th, I'll probably be retired for even after
Yeah.
some 40 years. So I have a little bit more time.
More time.
I'm not going to take it just laying down, go sit at the house.
Right,
No,
right.
no, no,
Listen, and you let me know, man. I'm gonna come down there with you, man, because we gotta let them know. We gotta keep them in line
Yes.
and let them know that they gotta keep taking action first. So can you say that with me?
Action
Say action first.
On WJRG, Connecticut's #1 gospel internet radio station. God bless.